Good morning, everybody. I hope that you're all having a great day. I'm having a pretty good day. It's been kind of hot here. Like it was 28 degrees yesterday. And that's crazy because it was still April. So today's a little bit cooler. So I am extremely happy. It's a little bit overcast, so perfect for me. I thought I would start this stream by telling you the tale of my new camera that I still don't have because I have to complain about it so that I can move on. Um, so I spent a lot of money for me on this camera, and I bought it online through my local retailer because they said it was going to take 2 weeks to get it, and I wanted it for when I go to play on tabletop this week. So I ordered it, and when I was in the cart, I saw that there was a promotion. And the promotion was buy the camera and get $50 off. This really cool handle remote tripod thing. And I wanted it. I wanted that very badly because I do want to do some vlogging while I'm away. It's what I wanted to do this week. And that was going to be extremely handy for me. I wanted it. I was going to get it. So I was trying to figure out how to actually get that promotion through my cart. And while I'm in my cart, I see underneath that, like, oh, you like this item? You might also like this bundle. And I thought it was the same camera with the bundle because I'm in my cart. And stupid me didn't check. There's basically two versions of this camera. There's one that has interchangeable lenses, and that's the one I wanted because, like, I used to be a camera nerd for stills. So I would like to have the option of, changing up my lenses. Then there's the other one that's the exact same camera with just a little bit of a different sensor and a fixed lens. It's more specifically for vlogging. And I wanted something that's a little bit more versatile. So stupid me. I said, "Oh, that's the camera I want with the handle." I put that in my cart, and you know what? It's not. It's not the same. It's not the same. However, I took it back to the store, and the gentleman who was working was extremely nice and kind and got everything sorted out. So I have the handle still, and I've already paid for my camera that I actually want, but I have to wait up to 2 weeks for it to come from a different store because this camera is extremely difficult to find. Everybody wants this camera, so I think I picked a good one, but I picked one that's very hard to get. Like, it's on back order at Sony. So the fact that he actually found me one in a different store and ordered it in for me, like, I'm eternally grateful. And as soon as that camera comes in, he's getting a good review from me because his managers need to know that he deserves a raise. So it's very important to do that also when you go to big box stores. This isn't like a big box store. It's a Canadian store, but it's my favorite place for cameras because they're so knowledgeable and have a wide selection. So, shout out to London Drugs. Excellent customer service. However, I'm not going to have it anytime soon. I'm not going to have it to vlog my way through my play on visit, which is also extremely disappointing because I wanted to do that. I guess I could use my phone to vlog, but colors on my phone are not accurate, and it really bothers me. So that is where we're at with the camera. It is paid for, it's on its way, it'll be here sometime. Is it the tire store Canadian Tire? No, it's London Drugs. And I think that's London, Ontario, is why it's called London Drugs. But yes, if you're in Canada and you need camera service, I highly suggest London Drugs. Way better than Best Buy. I don't even know if the source even exists anymore, but if it does, I'm sure it's way better than the source. Even more descriptive, London Drugs. Yeah, so like if you think about it, London Drugs is kind of like a. It's not even like a Walmart. What would it be in the States? I don't even know. I don't shop in the States. But it's like, it's got like a pretty big pharmacy. It's also got a very big, like, beauty, like makeup section, healthcare stuff. But then it has like the most amazing electronics department. I know it's just so random, but that's what we're all about here in Canada is just random. Neither in London nor a drugstore. I mean, there's probably one in London, Ontario, I would imagine. Costco, kind of, but not that big. Like if Costco was like 1/16th that size, then you might have a London Drugs. Also, they don't do food. Like they have like a cookie aisle and like a snack aisle, but they don't really do food. Which Costco does food. If you ever needed like an oil drum of mustard, Costco's got you covered. What else? I know I'm like rambling, haven't even started painting yet, but there's just so much going on behind the scenes. Like I just want to tell all you guys. Um, so I had a meeting with my upcoming new long form podcast co-host, and we got a lot of stuff sorted. We've got a schedule, we've got an idea. I told him to put boundaries on how much I ask of him, so he did that, and I will not cross those boundaries because let me tell you, in content creation, I've had my boundaries crossed a few times. Um, so now I've got this book also because I'm like an insano organized person. So this is my new like content creation binder, and everything that I'm gonna need in the future to make my uh, podcast and my shorts and anything else that I do is going to be like in that binder. So I've started actually planning out and storyboarding the very first two pilot episodes. There's two. Um, and I'm hoping that as soon as the camera comes in, I'll have everything ready to go, um, so that I can just immediately start recording it. Um, so yes, the plan is going forward. I have listened to the community, and they have said that they would like long form content. So let's do it. Okay, that's what I have going on. Okay, so this is where we're at. I finished all of his white armor. I'm sorry if it's like a little bit choppy. It's choppy on my end. I'm not sure what's up. Hopefully it's not on your end. And then today we're going to be doing, see all these like dark green areas that don't really like fit the color scheme? Well, today we're going to make them not this. We're going to make them this, and then it'll all make sense. My like cyberpunk, like synthwave vision will be complete. So, but in order to get here, because I don't know if you've ever used fluorescent colors before. It is fluorescent, by the way. I know it's washed out, but it is like a fluorescent kind of color. In order to use these, you have to glaze them, and you have to start with a darker color. So we're going to start with some of this olive green in the palette. How are you enjoying painting the Infinity models? I really enjoy them. I think they really suit my particular painting style. But I always struggle with getting like a bit of texture on metal models. I don't know what it is, because like I basically glaze, and it doesn't matter. I still end up getting texture. So this is like a really, um, it's a really fun challenge for me to try and figure out why that's happening, um, and try to learn to not do that. But yeah, I am super enjoying them. I think that they're fun. So guess who got their foot stabbed by a sharp stick? Oh no. Friendly neighborhood inquisitor, I hope it's not you. And if it really, really went in, like you gotta make sure and get a tetanus shot. Also, I just wanted to take a moment to say, like, the weather's been super weird here. And that means that, like, we went from a low pressure system yesterday to a high pressure system today. And I know this because I can feel it in my arthritis. But also, I noticed because when I use these Vallejo bottles, they just explode. Like, I just took the lid off and, like, that much paint came out. Does anybody have any advice to stop that from happening? Because it happens in my area all the time, and it is exclusively when the weather changes. So I'm interested. If you have advice for me, let me know. Okay. I'm up to date on my tetanus shots. Good. It went through my shoe, but bruised my. It went through your shoe. Dang. That's kind of insane. Okay, so with these bright greens, they do kind of need to be thinned. Just because they are in a bit of a different medium. They're a little harder to work with. And then I've got some cleanup to do here, but that's okay because as we put more and more layers on, all that stuff will go away. So I do want to try and use the side of my brush when doing this kind of netting that's going on here, because I want to keep the, see if I can do it. Nope. I might have to go in with um like thicker paint, less thinned. Let's see if I can do it with non-thinned. See if we can figure this out. That's an air pressure change thing, hard to battle. That's what I was afraid of. Okay, so we're going in with the side of the brush. I'm going to try and leave a little bit of the undercolor in places where I think there would be shadow. So definitely like underneath this seam, I think that there would be more shadow. There's going to be a little bit in this sort of fold here, so I'm going to try and leave a little bit of that. Okay. So it does work with this netting to use like non-thinned paint essentially, because I don't want it to run into all these like little mesh holes. You could probably prevent it by reducing the volume of paint in the bottle by half, but then you'd have to have a bajillion spare paint bottles. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I already have a bajillion bottles, like spare bottles. Our local games. Oh, that's another thing we should go about. But my old local game store was saying that they were going out of business, and so because of that, I knew there was nowhere else that I was going to get Vallejo in town here. So I just bought out like the majority of the greens that I use for my orcs and my guard. These are all Vallejo that I use. So I have a ton of extra paint. But in exciting news, our new game store that's trying to be opened up in town here may have finally found a location to rent. Who would have thought that would have been such a difficult thing to try and navigate? But yes, apparently everybody wants to start a business right now, so a ton of uh, locations that have been basically empty since COVID are now starting to fill up. And a lot of the property managers are just trying to like, I don't know, just like play all the people against each other to get like the best deal for them, and it's like we didn't want to play that game. So Actually, it's funny because I was getting my hair cut, and I always go to the same place, the same lady, because I love her so much. And she's also uh, a nerd, so we always have really good talks. And I noticed that the place next door was actually, it just had come up for lease since the last time that I actually got my hair done. So I immediately like took pictures of the signs with all like the numbers and stuff, and like told the guys, I was like, you should check this one out. It looks perfect. It looks like perfect. Like there's even like places where you can have private rooms for birthday parties and stuff. And and also like when you're playing D&D at a store, you don't really want people milling about, taking you out of your zone. So there's like rentable rooms and stuff in it, and they immediately went to look at it. Like I think 2 days later, they all went to look at it and they agreed, and it's like perfect. So now we're just waiting to hear if they got it. So cross your fingers for us, because like my mental health is like now that I don't have my like weekly gaming nights. It's just kind of a bummer. So I really really hope that they get it, and I'm really excited to have like a new store coming soon, hopefully. Argle bargle and things of that nature. Yeah. So I'm super excited, super duper excited. And it's gonna be crazy because like the Warhammer community has never really had a store where the owners have really sort of appreciated us or supported us. Like they let us play, but like the last store owner wouldn't like order anything for us. It was very weird. Um, so it'll be really nice to have a store that's like actually owned by some Warhammer and D&D nerds who like want us to be able to get our stuff. I'm so excited though. I don't know if you can tell. I'm so excited. But yeah, so I'm probably, once that store starts too, I'm probably going to end up becoming an affiliate for them just because I really want them to succeed. I really want a place to play, so I'm going to work on getting you guys all discount codes and stuff if you want to order. Probably going to be best for Canadian folks, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so there's definitely like a big dip here, and I kind of want that to be rather dark, so I'm just gonna hit this sort of edge here and leave that big dip that darker color. And here. I'm gonna leave underneath the gun also that darker green. Okay. So it's basically like a dry brush kind of, except you just use the side of your brush. That way it's not placing the paint into the holes. It's just sort of brushing around them. I'll just pick out the green on this seaming, piping, if you will. And again, this is just the first layer of 3 in order to build up to this really bright kind of fluorescent green color. And I'm going to do a little bit here. I'm going to try and leave this kind of corner a little darker here because it's underneath the gun, so it's a bit in shadow. I once worked at a shop like that. The owner was a board gamer, and when she hired me, it was to support mini games. Then she found out how much stock you had to carry. Yeah, I always think too, it's like pick a couple games and support those. So like right now, I would pick obviously Warhammer because it's like the big one. And you do have to make quite a big investment when you start because there's like a package of things that you have to have in your store. So you have to like buy that entire package. But I don't think that I would branch out of that until like you know that it's taking off. And then like for my other game, I would pick one of the big ones, but only one. So I'd either do like MCP or Star Wars Legion or Infinity. Pick like one of those and just support that one for a while with starter sets until your community starts kind of taking off. Okay, this is a good question. Have you had a chance to play Infinity yet? I've always been interested in it since the models are pretty rad looking. Agreed. But the rules always seemed a bit intimidating. I agree. The rules for N4 are kind of intimidating, but you can always play Code 1, and that is, I've played a few games of Code 1, so I still don't really know what I'm doing. But I feel like it's pretty easy to grasp like the basic concepts of the game through Code 1. And I think you need less models and there's like less keywords and different interactions and stuff. So I think that's a really great place to start. Plus, I've heard that the kits, like, because you get a starter kit with like 2 factions, I've heard that they're like pretty balanced. But I don't know because I just picked what I thought looked cool. So yeah, I would just start with Code 1 and see how you like it because like the rules and everything are all there to get you started. Oh, and also in our kit that we got, um, it has like learning scenarios. So like you start with your first mission and it teaches you something, and then the second mission teaches you like another mechanic, and it's like a very organic way of learning. So we're only on the 3rd one. We have a long way to go. But it's really well thought out for beginners. So that's where I would start if I were you. Okay, back to what I was doing. So I'm gonna leave this sort of corner. I'm gonna hit just the edge of the seam here, and then I'm just gonna do a little bit here. And I gotta try and remember like not to hum or sing because I don't want to get another copyright strike. Also, I just want to save you guys from the absolute tragedy that is my singing voice. I have a teeny tiny little bit of green underneath here, which I'm probably not going to take all the way up to fluorescent, but we'll put a little bit of this on there. I shudder at the thought of trying to manage gamer ADD and not get stuck with dead stock, but if you can get magic going and sell snacks, you could probably pay for a bit of prospecting. Yeah, I don't like. I think it's you have to be careful with Magic the Gathering now too because they have so many like really expensive special edition products that I think if you just got like the command like is a commander that has like the boxes that are like that big um and like boosters and stuff, it's really hard. And also like if you're part of like if you buy directly from WotC, then you have to do Friday Night Magic and stuff. So it's a little tricky, I think, with Magic, but it can be a good moneymaker for sure. The urge to sing in the jungle is always just a whim away, a whim away. Nyuk nyuk nyuk. That's actually a pretty good dad joke. And can you believe that I said that? Good dad joke. Magic keeps the lights on for most shops. I'm very fortunate my shop doesn't do TCGs and is prospering like crazy. I think it's not a good time to invest a lot into Magic, especially. Um, but yeah, it's definitely something that they're considering. But I don't think that they want to do like all of the stuff. Like I think they want to do boosters, and that's about it. And yeah, I don't know if you can see, but these kind of brighter greens, they dry a lot different than they go on. So they dry a lot darker. You really have to wait till they dry before you make up your mind on if you want to take it up a step lighter or not. You usually do. Okay, let's do these little bits here. I'm not going to do too much. I'm going to do, there's like a little wrinkle here, so I'm going to do this one. And then I'm going to leave a little bit of the shadow, but basically trace along the seam here. So we're just trying to like build up some of that depth at every highlight layer that we're doing. Oh, hi Tanya's nails. I had to like take them right down after that allergic reaction, which is like super sad. And they were very like have very thin nails, so I was like I can't do it. I can't be without something. So I did them yesterday. But yes, they're you can't tell, but the little gems are like iridescent. Oh, you can kind of tell on this one. So they're kind of fun. Wizards is also kind of burning their own castle with them in it right now. Yeah, yeah, they are. So it's kind of a good time to just wait and kind of see what happens. Um, Sending the effing Pinkertons after that one YouTuber was really yes. Like, what even is this? And like the first thing that I thought was like the Pinkertons. What is this? The Wild West? Like, what the heck? They're still around? But yes, apparently Pinkertons are still around. But they're basically like mafia enforcers? Like, what? What is this? Like, what even is happening? It's a good touch with what you had to work with. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I would normally do extensions, but I really want to see if I can just grow out my natural nails without the extensions. Um, so it's kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, also like my nails and my hands in general still looked so rough after like all that nonsense of the past 3 weeks. And I really just didn't want, especially my dice box hand, but I just really didn't want to like gross people out when I go to play on. So I did them just to sort of mask the weirdness that's going on my nail beds, and so I don't look like a follower of Papa Nurgle. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not a good look for me personally. And also because like when I go to play on, like I don't read the comments anymore because there were some comments about my body, and I don't like that. So I don't read the comments anymore. Um, so I just don't want to like give any more reason for anybody to be like awful in the comments, because I know it was that when other commenters see those comments, it makes them upset too. So I'm like finally in a good place with my sort of like self-image of myself, and so I'm not really too upset when people make those comments anymore. I still don't want to see them though, because it's not like a comment that exists to like make me a better person or anything. Um, so yeah, but thank goodness for therapy, man. And thank goodness for like accepting yourself, you know? I am finally coming to terms with the fact that, I just can't do the things that I used to be able to do. And that I have like a better sort of appreciation for the things that I still can do. Acceptance and commitment therapy is amazing, by the way. If you've tried therapy and nothing else works for you, I highly recommend acceptance and commitment therapy. It's absolutely changed my life. I also saw like my therapist was kind of bummed on Twitter about like feeling like what he doesn't like seem to help some people. So I had to like chime up and be like, "Hey, you changed my life. Like, don't downplay that. But I was in a really good place. Like I mean I was in a bad place, but I was in a good place in the fact that like I wanted to get better. I wanted to stop being mean to myself. And he helped me do that, and I'm like eternally grateful. Especially my dice box had first world problems. It's not a problem, because I fixed it. You should just lean into it, done full cosplay as a nerdling. Okay, I'm not big into cosplay, but I'm especially not into cosplay under studio lighting. Just saying, all that makeup or all that big furry suit or like whatever you're gonna do is just gonna make you a sweaty mess. And yeah, not into it. Not into it. This is why we can't have nice things. The internet questions my faith in humanity some days. True. But then I just go into the Patreon Discord and I'm like, oh yeah, good people do exist. Whenever I'm having like a down day, everybody in the Patreon Discord just lifts me up, and I'm so grateful to have the best people on the internet in my Discord. And that's also why I keep it behind a paywall, because I don't want anybody coming in and being a stinker. The internet can be such a trash fire. I wish other people would just be kind to each other. I agree. I wish that more than anything. Mental health education and therapy is so important. I really wish we could start working mental health support into basic healthcare support for everyone. Yes. Like, I really think that it would be cheaper in a lot of ways than, like, trying to sustain, you know, all these other programs of support when really a lot of people just need to deal with their trauma. Life is trauma. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid your trauma, but you can work through it, and it would be really nice to give more people access to the resources needed to heal that trauma. Did you see Mini Wargamer Dave? Yes, yes, he had to be rescued. Cosplay is dangerous. Like, all of those suits and stuff are, hot and sweaty, and it's like a real commitment um, to like wear those things all day. Like, I have a lot of like wardrobe non-negotiables. So I just really think I would be awful at cosplay. I would be uncomfortable all the time and complaining. And I sometimes think that that's part of my potential. I mean, I don't have a diagnosis, but I do think I have some touch of the autism spectrum. And I think the way that clothes feel on my body is like definitely um, one of the ways that that manifests for me. Cause like y'all, I cannot wear like trousers or jeans or like anything that has like a zipper. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I don't like anything like super restrictive. Um, I can't do it. Look at how stress can manifest in physical symptoms. How many doctor visits could be prevented via ongoing therapeutic assistance? I agree. Also, like a really amazing side effect of my acceptance and commitment therapy for the way that the relationship that I have for myself was the relationship that I have with my arthritis. And it actually makes it a lot easier to deal with the pain of my arthritis. So even if you're dealing with like constant physical pain, acceptance and commitment therapy might be able to help you with that. Because it just randomly did for me too. Also, guided meditation for pain management is a thing. I also recommend that. But you know what? Also, I believe that the medical system should be looking at more preventative measures. Like, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that the medical system where I live will not pay for an unloader brace for me for my knee, because an unloader brace is like $2,000 to $3,000. But how much is a knee replacement surgery? You know, like, doesn't that just make more sense to like get me this and then I maybe will never need a knee replacement? Logic. But logic doesn't exist with the government. Hello, Alex. How's it going? Okay. So I think I'm pretty happy with that layer. And like, look at how much pooped out. There's so much paint. I'm just gonna like scrape that to the top of my palette just to give myself like a little bit of a buffer here. Okay. So this is probably going to poop out like crazy too. But now I'm going to go in with lime green. Cries in American healthcare. Yeah. How's you? I'm good. I'm real good. We're painting these today with this guy. And we're like slowly building up this darker green, and you're gonna see more of a difference on this layer. Basically kind of sketching out where the highlights are gonna be and where the shadows are gonna be. Yep. Pooping paint. We are in a high pressure system now. Okay. So now we're basically going to do the same thing with this brighter color and just sort of leave a little bit of the underlying color. So I'm going to start here. And these fluorescent kind of style paints really have a weird texture. So, and I do like to kind of start at the highest points of the highlight. So, and then kind of decide um, how far into the shadow I want to take it. So that looks pretty good. Pretty good. And that green it's more vibrant than it looks in the camera. It's another reason why I'm bummed I don't have my new camera, because I'm going to use it for streaming this too. It's going to be my new top-down camera. It's not here yet. And I might have to actually build up this color slowly, but I think it's worth it to get that intense kind of green that I'm looking for. Okay. And I'm not sure like what's causing the texture on these metal models, like every single one I try to paint. Is it because I paint in like a lot of layers? So I am trying to leave a little bit of that darker green, like so in this corner, like we said, underneath this little, I guess, seam, I want there to be a little shadow there, so I'm not putting as much of this green in there. But this green is also buildable, so you can really sort of decide how much you want where. And if you want it brighter somewhere, you just hit it again. Watching along and trying to write my thesis. Any words of wisdom or motivation? Well, it's been a very long time since I was in school. I would always say make sure that you are setting yourself enough time. And whenever I write anything, the majority of my time is spent in like the research and planning stage, so that when it actually comes time to write or do the thing, it takes less time. So I guess I would say just keep at it, keep knocking it out of the park, keep uh, doing it in bite-sized chunks as well, so you don't get burnt out. That's like a huge thing. Um, what else? Yeah, anytime that something seems like an insurmountable task, I always like to sort of break it down into smaller pieces. And I just find that like a lot easier to manage the overwhelming nature of like very big ideas and projects and things. But yes, when you take breaks, because I do think you should take breaks. I don't like to sort of write for more than like 30 minutes at a time. But when you take a break, I think it's important to get up and walk around, drink some water, do some self care stuff. My opinion. It's very important to keep the brain working, motivated. Yeah, the only time that I would ever like spend more time writing if it's like a paper or something is if you're like really enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, make sure that you're setting aside some break time. Use ChatGPT. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Uh, be sure to bring an appropriate weapon when you go to defend it, because as we all know, the best defense is a good offense. That's, wisdom that you could live by right there. Make sure to bring a weapon when you go to defend your thesis. Ah, now we can see it's starting to come together. Look at that. I think American schools have had enough of weapons in the classroom. Yes. Blood for the blood god is the best way to begin your defense. Yes. Mark of corn. That's not sus at all. Bringing a weapon is just perpetually a stereotype. uh, I do find myself holding my breath while painting these minis. Like, I always sort of hold my breath, but, like, the details are so tiny on these minis that I am more so holding my breath. Dog hair on my hand. Well, I have dog hair everywhere in my house, but my brush? It's on this hand. If you have to choose between your weapon and your shield, choose your shield. Oh, that's actually a very good advice. I would agree with that, but I am a very defensive person. Hence why I went to therapy. Okay, so what do we think of that compared to the other side? Starting to get some nice contrast between the highlights and the shadows there. It's pretty fantastic, is what I'm thinking. Aw, thanks, Mark. I don't want to do too much of this color on this particular part because I really want it to like track that it's in shadow. So might take a little doing. Looking better than I can do. Well, I think I think anybody could do it. I think you it's just like people can explain to you how to highlight stuff, but I think you just have to do it and fail a few a few times um, before you start to like kind of see how light might hit something. So it's been so hot that we've started to do our long walks, me and dog at night. So he just basically sleeps during the day. He just does not do well in the heat at all. Poor guy. So he might let me paint a little longer today. We'll see. Okay. I'm gonna put the piping on and see if that helps me understand what's going on here. Is the bottom of the cloak physically textured, or is it that freehanded? No, it's physically done like that. Just finished assembling my bête noire. Just 2 dead doxies and that box is assembled. Nice. How are you enjoying assembling the teeny tiny, I'm assuming, metal models? I've heard horror stories about how fiddly Malifaux models are to assemble. Me too. I have heard that as well. Anytime I've seen painted Malifaux models, though, I'm like, oh, those look nice. But I really do not need to start another game. I do not need to start another game. I have my, like, creepy, dark skirmish game. It's good enough. Don't need another one. Oh, I know I said I was going to paint orc stuff after this, but I think I'm going to paint Ursula Creed. She's calling to me. So I had her primed. As in, I got the Warmistress to prime her for me. Hopefully I'll have my new camera by the time we're ready to go on her. I hope. Yeah, so this is going to need a little bit more work here, because I can't figure out how... I might have to put a little bit more of that first color green in here to sort of blend this out, because it's not quite looking right to me. Gotta jump into meetings. Well, I hope that your meetings are not things that could have been handled in an email. Because that's like a big pet peeve of mine. They're plastic. Oh, nice. And I am nervous every time I cut off a bit of hair fringe and then have to clean some mold line sprue bits. Mm-hmm. These are just going to be a paint project for me. No one I know plays and are pretty line in the sand. They're going to be 40k only players. That's kind of a bummer. Like, I understand that you have like a lot invested in 40k. It's expensive. Um, it's time intensive, so like it's hard to justify um, doing anything else. But there's just so many other good games out there. It's kind of sad. Put a little bit up here. Maybe this is the culprit. This area here. Is this? Yep, that's the culprit. Just a bit too dark. So, put a little bit of this in there. That area looks better. This area also looks a bit better. There, that looks better. Starting to get there. There's such a wide world of games out there. It's kind of sad to see folks close themselves off like that. Yeah, it's the nature of the 40k beast though. Like it literally takes so much brain power to play those games and to stay on top of everything. You know, I totally understand. Just at the same time, I have fun playing other games, so Sometimes it's nice having other games to like reset. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I have because I've got Age of Sigmar, I've got 40k, I've got this. So if I want to do some like cyberpunk style stuff, and then I have Mythos, which is like 1920s, kind of like modern but 1920s, skirmish with magic and stuff. So I feel like I've got a good spread of things depending on what I want. And if I want, I'd have access to like Frostgrave and um, Gaslands and stuff like that. So if I really get sick of everything else, I've got other things. Like I've got the rule sets for other things that I could play. I know my husband has been talking a lot about Last Days. He just made a big board for it. So if I don't have to buy or paint anything for that, like I might give that a try too. Okay. I like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna instead of doing this on all the rest of it, I'm just gonna put that last color on the part that we just did there, so you can kind of see in case Doggo decides that he wants to go for a walk. They've experimented some, but keep going back to what they like. Nothing can scratch the itch for 'em like 40k. Yeah, it is kind of like a unique. It's unique in terms of scale, really. They do play TTRPGs and stuff. It's just wargaming is 40k to them, and that's totally fair. Add to that the weird tribalism that gamers often have around their favored systems. Tribalism. Hmm. Have a good day, Rob. Always love having you around. Okay, so now this particular color is extremely difficult to work with. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try and not thin it too much, in case that's what's leading to texture. I am unsure. And then I just want to hit like the higher areas essentially. And we're just gonna try and create a little bit more depth. And this probably is going to need several layers because this paint is in a transparent medium and it's just difficult to work with. I'm going to leave most of this. I'm just going to do a little hit of this fluorescent here. Trying my best not to hit what I've already painted here. So I'm going to do right here. But just this corner. And then just this upper bit here. then a little bit here. Okay. And having that those other layers underneath, it really helps reduce the amount of layers that you need in these fluorescent paints. I really think that it's like the only way to use these. I don't know how people could possibly use them and just do like one or two layers over like black or white. It just does not work for me. Okay. It's definitely an adventure working on these very detailed models. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job. I can't say that I've actually seen a lot of painted infinity models out there on the old Instagrams, but I don't really follow a lot of I don't really follow a lot of people like actively follow, so that could also be the issue. Okay, we're getting there. Infinity models are a real challenge to paint, which is like kind of why I was like, is that why I don't see as many painted minis on Instagram? Because they're challenging. Like obviously, I've seen some people, like I've seen Angel Geraldes, because he was their painter for a very long time. Um, so I've seen his, but I mean those are like out of this world, right? Like holy Dinah. I just like to see like average people's paintings, see what they come up with. I find them much more interesting. Oh, I hear him. I think I made the right call deciding to do these first to just sort of move on to this bright yellow. Baba. Lucas the Trickster. I heard you. Lucas! Where you at? There you are. Hi, Bubba. I heard you come upstairs. How you doing? It's doggo time. Hi, Bubba. What you doing? Come here. Hi. Most of the crew I play with paints theirs pretty regularly. Some of them are really good. I, however, am not. I tend to play with bare metal or primed a lot more than I like. I would just contrast it. That's what I would do if I was in that boat. Okay, so I'm just gonna give this one more pass to make sure that I'm happy with that level of highlight, and then I'm gonna take my doggo for a walko. Doggo! Exactly. So there's just a few little areas that I would like to do a little bit more work on here. But the good thing about these fluorescent paints is like they are pretty buildable. You can keep getting more and more um, like pigment payoff just by just giving them another little pass. So the trick, I think, when using like the side of your paintbrush like this to save the detail is to kind of like make sure it's not gloopy. You kind of have to smash the paint into the bristles. Not smash it, but push it into the bristles a little bit. You want like a nice even kind of coverage. You don't want to just like gloop paint onto it. Well, as I glooped paint here, see if I can fix this. I don't know if I can. Oh, here we go. Okay. I used to worry so much about making mistakes and I'd fix them right away and sort of worry about it and be very careful about how I painted and all of this. And now I'm just like, it's paint. I can fix it. In most cases, I can fix it. In most cases. Okay, that looks better on that side. It's not that like big splotch of bright yellow anymore. So I'm gonna cover up my palette and come back to these when I get back from my walk with my dog. But yes, that is basically what I'm gonna do on all of those mesh areas. I'm pretty happy. Like this was a bit of a challenge maintaining the kind of shadowy bits, but I'm overall pretty happy with that. I'm gonna go through and do the rest of it when I get back today. And then next week, what we'll do is we'll do all of the weapons and like the different black bits. And that's really easy because I'm just gonna mix. Oh, I've bent his sword a little bit. Um, Basically, I will mix black and my favorite highlight for black together, almost in a one-to-one. And then I'll pick out some layer highlights and then I'll just edge highlight and then that will be done. And I don't do too much on black because it's one of my difficult colors for sure. So that's what we're gonna do, just to keep it kind of like the focus is on the armor. It's going to be really good looking once you're finished. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we're getting near. I think that'll be like the last session is that, and then because I don't like to do bases on stream, it's just a lot of like waiting for stuff to dry. So yeah, I think next week will be like the last session on this guy, and then um, we'll start Ursula Creed. That could be really fun, and plus it'll be interesting to go from something that's very bright to something that's a little bit more like drab, because my guardsmen are all kind of, at least my characters. I'm probably gonna paint her very similar to this one. This guy here, man, I painted these so long ago, like 3 years ago. But yeah, I'll probably paint her very similar to these colors here. And yeah, I painted these back when I was like going to tournaments quite a bit. So like these are very fast paint jobs. So I might just give her the same level of paint job. Um, and yeah, I'll probably just give her the same level of paint job so she matches, but something like this. Also, Psycho Detailed True Skill to GW Heroic Skill. It's very different. Like, it's very different. I guess I'll pick somebody who's about the same level. Normal human. Like, look at the difference in the detail. And, like, the hands are so much smaller. Heads are so much smaller. So, that's what I think what we'll do. I can put him back without knocking everything off the shelf. We get to see your guard scheme. Yes. It's been a long time. It's been like, I think, 2 years. 2 years since I've painted any guard. So 1.5 years. It's been 1.5 years. So I've written down my recipe, and then we'll see how much better I am since the last time I painted some guard. Hands and weapons are where it's at. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it for today. I'm like pretty happy with how that looks. And what else do I have this week? I don't really have anything else this week. There should be a new episode of Forge the Narrative out. Rogel Torn Tank when? Once I can, I guess, feel like it. I'm just kind of like on like a bummer about Guard, so I'm excited to see like how things change in the new edition. So it'll probably be the new edition, honestly. Um, So there should be a new episode of Forge the Narrative out on Saturday. Other than that, I am out of town because I am going to be recording at Play on Tabletop, receiving a little bit of mentorship, and yeah, I'm just not going to be in town. I'm not going to be around too much. So if you need anything, message me or ping me on the Patreon Discord because it's probably going to be the only thing I'm really checking while I'm gone. I'm probably gonna try and film some stuff for make a vlog or like a mini vlog or something like that. Um, so yeah, keep your eye out for that. Hopefully, I can make it work on my phone. And that's all that I have for this week. Like I said, next week we're gonna finish up on our Daofei here, and then we'll move on to Ursula Creed. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys this week. I hope that your week is going to be as much fun as I'm going to be having. And until next time, be nice and roll dice. Bye, everybody.